nyadi lam nyaton jamala nyaton ko lan masonda do kula nyaton ko
out to his dictates and did whatever he wanted them to do.
Keno ta nyadi le bulata no ma lo sembe la maralo kan andun ning alata ko kula ikabula no kan.
And you gave us this example that was not always the case.
Misalo do dinna jame alon ko wato be ko la nyati.
And you are trying to explain the case of Mam Said Njai.
After misalo do dinna jame ke da Mam Said Njai la case.
Could you proceed to continue your explanation to show how you did not implement his order?
Sai tentenno ya sata commission o tentenno ta nyadi le man tentenno pour ka kala kangol tamandi ko ala fitala nyame.
I did not say that I did not say that no, I did not implement his orders.
Ma foko comme ayama role men dinay manke fenti mi alan ko ngata mandila ya fo nyami.
He never gave me any instructions or directives.
Nanana man yamar dinna comme nyanta minkela.
As regards Mam Said's issue.
Ta Mam Said la kuala.
However,
but hani obe nyaonya
on that fateful Friday,
o juma lunga nyin lunga fong.
Whilst we were talking in his office,
wato kono mbe diamu ka ngala office kono,
he told me
konyako
that he understands that I have a different opinion about that matter.
Akonyako ngajele ko ite mira dole soto nyin kula karola de.
The first thing I thought to myself,
follow ngami mira mfaye.
Who must have to give him that information?
That
was a big first shock I had, because I was wondering what he would do next. Anyway, I did explain to him that all the judgments against Mam Said were all subsisting, and none had been appealed against. And all the appeal periods had elapsed. So why would he be, sorry?
Were the judgment against or in favor of Mam Said?
In favor of Mam Said, all three judgments.
And as Minister of Justice, it was your belief that it was unfair that he remains to languish in jail and his property is taken away from him.
Exactly right.
Minister me marlata tonyal ni tilingola kiti kunya la ko ala sabatita katara kasoto andu ala soto fengola fana inara na wala fana tabulu.
Exactly right.
Did you make this known to the president?
Inara na president kala mudani na nyinna la ba.
Well, as far as his properties are concerned, we never spoke about that.
But you informed him that the judgments were in favor of Mam Said and that none of the judgments have been appealed. Therefore, it is res judicata, and therefore Mam Said should own his property.
Bari ya kala muda ninyin na ko kiti yol me be keta Mam Said ni o kiti onyin tema ganyeta ol belal andung kiti murun kam mankala ko nyindo woto ala sort of fengol be manyana katabu wonya.
That is correct.
Did you write a legal opinion on this matter and send it to the president?
Fo ila mira yela miro sa safela ba luala karola ba yaki president wa bang.
I did not.
Mo kede.
Do you realize that by not doing so, Mr. Mam Said's rights still remained unvindicated?
Anikabi tumala men e mo woke yenyin kala mudan le ko Mam Said la nyanto nyin han saying atuta di bola kon,
because the Ministry of Justice could have stepped in and say this is wrong, this is unfair,
kato ministry
let it stop, but that didn't happen.
Ministry member alon ko le marta lual nen ki tilingola wol manyane wol nyana findira ya fako nyin ketala manyana kelaten andu nyana kelaten ne o manke.
Well, that is correct. I became aware of the issue some months after his conviction.
Sentence. nyato ka watum na ye loi ya blo la kam foka pa.
And this unfairness, this abuse of authority by Jame
intilimbalia anin lanna tambo me alon ko ya jamme kake
continued to happen simply because
tentenda ka ke nyin kamala
officers entrusted with power and responsibility
mol men yalon ko sembo dide la andunti la lannole ketela way me asabu yo sembol dida
instead of properly and correctly applying the law
tumala men na puru ye loi ta ko loi ya fanyame ye bulaw sartol ni sitamande bulol noma
they did exactly what Jame wanted.
bari tolu kam men ke wala min de yaya Jame fan kundi ata lafta men na ikabula wala.
Do you agree that's what used to happen?
To some extent I agree, but to some extent I disagree.
What do be just no but what do be just no wala.
But isn't it that what actually enabled and fermented and entrenched the dictatorship of Jame?
Fo ma nya sifalu kabula no ma usifal la ka fasa wala man na sembo dia la pour ayna na ke sembela maralo mansati.
That is correct.
Omuto nyati.
But can I finish the story?
Yes,
so you can get the gist of everything. So when I gave him a rundown of the system, he turned, just like you have taken your cup, he took his coffee cup and said, today is Friday, is my day.
Konyago komite fon ya kaso ta nyaming konyago bimu jumalungolti na lungolempiti.
He drank his coffee
la timi nyiming
and told me to go to mile 2
konyago ta mile 2
and secure the release of Mamsit.
Ye mamse findindi kaso kono.
I said mile 2 is not under my purview.
Ko mile 2 de wo mantaranta koto de.
Probably what he ought to have done
wa nyanta kanu kaminke wo wato kono
was to get the then Minister of Interior, Usman Sonko. To implement that. But at the time, Usman Sonko had traveled. I said, then why not the IGP? And the Commissioner of Prisons. At the time, the the IGP had traveled. His deputy, who was Edu Sambu, he summoned him through the then Secretary of Cabinet and gave him instructions. So the Secretary to Cabinet prepared a press release and we were instructed to go to mile 2 to release Mamsit Njai.
But in that press release,
kibaro men janjanda.
Did you accurately reflect the facts as you all knew it?
Fo o kibaro nyingon altolbe yo kibaro nyi ko yalo nyame ali o aliasa fe wala nyama jedo.
Or was it just a lie that was put on the paper as is typical of what used to happen?
Fo fania kuma kan wal donne safeta o kayto nyindo banko adalta kelka kan nyame.
No, I do not remember the context of the text, the press release rather.
But in these instances, isn't it all about praise singing of Jame, how benevolent he is, and how kind and nice he is to Gambian people, and how respectful he is of the law? Isn't that what used to appear in all these so-called press releases and
bari jama wo wato la nyin kibare bun jam sifal ni be janjanna kuma kan men gatara fuduringa kono wala nyindi ko kaya jam ka tendu ka jay ka fuko mo kendo le mati hinon te wala mati ay bala fasoro mo nyimmala mati o kuma kan sifal do e ka wala bula e ka wala safe nyin kibar sifal do ni be fenkela fo.
That I do not know because I have not had the opinions of people. So I cannot say otherwise.
So what wakante kumado fola no.
However,
But hani sign.
before we went to mile 2,
Ninkata kaso bunda do mile 2.
the officer in charge of the prisons at the time,
Mom yalan ko wala marin kaso nyina wo wato kon.
I don't remember his name.
Hakilo ma to ma de.
Edu, the deputy IG, called him.
Do mi yalan ko wala police la kunton ko normal ankoti.
He said he was at the beach,
Ko time watu aba badal.
having his normal leisure time.
Wa aba fonyon dingola je. Kaka kenu nyami.
For me, I kept mute
Te dente endele.
because I cannot imagine
Kadu nte fe nte wo jenu nyami.
your senior man
Mi yalan ko wala la nyaton koti.
giving you the president's instructions.
President wala yama role dila.
I would have thought
Te fe nami mirano.
should have crossed over to mile 2.
Inyanta ka borile kata mile 2 kaso bunda.
So, Edu, myself, and the Secretary to Cabinet,
Do aninta fon anin secretary mi yalan ko wala be malarin cabinet wala.
we went to mile 2.
Data ka mile 2 kaso to.
We got Mamfe prepared
Mam se parendi
for his exit.
by finti.
Let me ask this question.
May I say one more thing?
Baringa kudo la fakamba.
So when he was released,
Briya bula.
or prior to all these events,
Dan ni nyum kol fon be kala no fon.
Yaya Jammeh told him, Edu,
Ya jame a fonu edu en ko.
that he must put Edu in his car.
Nyanta ka
Sorry, Mamse in his car
nyanta ka mam se kala moto kono.
and drive him to his house.
Aya samba ya.
And that was what happened.
And wala fana nata ke.
What paper
mun kaydi lem
secured Mamsaid's release?
mun kaydi le mam sek la bulo nyin garanti
Not any paper that I know of.
A man ke ti long wo ko karola de.
Mr. Jabate,
But the prisons themselves,
just a moment.
so do man
You are a lawyer.
royala muti de
Do you see the problem in all this?
ye kole yal je nyin kol kono le ba
see what I'm trying to say here, the prisons
Yeah, left the
gave him
government.
a release warrant.
Mil ya be do ko la kaso bunda to ye kay to le diala mi yalan ko wala kay tan ko kari ya bula.
What was the authority? What was the basis for the release warrant by the prison?
bula de kayto nyin prise kase bumba e men diala mun nen kuma kanti mun len tambolti kuma kanol to me yalan ko le safiro kaydo bala men bay tan la ko ya isabula
Because they had to account
Ate nyanda ka jele ko ya
the
yiri
number at the prisons at the time.
mol mi yalan ko wala be kaso to ngo wato ko.
The question is, what is the legal authority
loi mun sembodi
for the issuance of that release warrant? What was the authority for the release of Mr. Mamsaid Njai?
mun loi mun sembodi memba sabula mam sek njay pour ya bula
The president's word and instructions.
President wala ko
What I can
wala
imagine.
anin ayama ro tege wala je.
And this is precisely my point.
ina fa mun nan do blati
My belief is Mr. Mamsaid Njai should not have spent a day in a cell, let alone in mile 2.
tele lan no lata men na mam sed manyana han tilo kilingo kela selo kono sako we kase bumbar
A day is long, I would say 1 second.
Nsafo ko montoro sekono do.
That's right. So we are all in agreement with that.
be
We're both in
kambenda
agreement.
be kambenda wala
My problem is
même mun na kole ya dati
the word of Yaya Jammeh appeared to have been the law.
amunu tan fele ko ya jammela kuma kan ay même mun da kono wala kita luwati
And that is what the Minister of Justice applied. The
And-
word of Yaya Jammeh, not the law.
ministre fango atamata ya jammela kuma kan la bari ministre nyim fa mela ko atela mata luwal ni tilingola amman tama luwa e men fo atamata ya jammela kuma kan men bura da ko
Do you agree with that?
isonta
No, I disagree.
Ni man so wala.
Well,
And I can give you my reasons.
Nun channa dalilol dila no le de.
Mr. Jabate, a
Yes.
person cannot or ought not to be put in jail without a committal warrant.
What?
Are you in agreement with that?
isonta manyina ko
Indeed.
mo manyana tala kasoro ka dundi kasoro ka soronje ning ayatara kayti taje ka me committal warrant memba e standila ko ning ay nyineke ka dundi o kaso kono fayo kalamta
Ah
And to remove that person from jail, there ought to be a written order.
nun ko mari fana fintinde o kaso nyin kono kango nyanna dila le mealon ko safari kango le mealon ko ka me written order
Either from the court
fo abe bola na kiti bundal to ba
or as a result of extinction of sentence, in which case the prison would issue a release warrant.
woli waranto fabe kela alo soron diro nyin kay fay ya bonda kanne ba ando fanan ko prisini men di o kayti sifa men di
or a pardon.
waranto yam fo membe
Those
gola
are the only three mechanisms
ngilem sila sabolti men ya lon ko
through which a person could be removed from the prison.
mosi findindino kase bumbado
Order of court,
kango si kiti o mem kango mem bra kiti bundado
pardon,
kayam fama
or extinction of sentence.
waranto soron diro men kata kan ka bondi akan
That is correct.
muto nyalti
Did Yaya Jammeh's order amount to any one of those?
presila ya jamme kango men di nyin sabol ngam men fo ala dunta dulal to jeba
I indicated earlier that there was a press release.
nga fole num follow ta ko
Whether that press release mentioned, whether the press release mentioned about a pardon for him, I do not know.
wo kibaro nyin fo abe safarin jele ko yam fote malem wo man ko
In a sense, you are telling us that as Minister of Justice, you did not ensure that the necessary legal processes were followed.
munta ilafta kambe mfanyi wala minde ko minister me alon ko itele marde luwal din tiringola nu silol men nyana no masata la pour nyin ko etama ka nyana kila nyame luwa ya fanyame wol mam fol wol mam bulan
The president had given his orders,
president yala yama role dile
not to me directly, but to the Deputy Inspector General of Police
amadin tele de bradi police ol kunton ko
and the Secretary to Cabinet.
anim fana mi alon ko wala mo secretary to cabinet
Mr. Jobata, he gave it to all three of you, and that was unlawful.
sa jobata ayadi atol mo sabote
Mr. Fall, I disagree because when he wanted to give me the instructions, I told him clearly that the prison is not under my purview.
kabra lafta wo yama role dila na prungake nga sene anda mala ko nte kaso bunda mantara na yama roko
But did you tell him that what he was doing was abuse of authority?
ade fay nyin fay nako alafta kambenke fo mu kude me ya lon ko sembela lanna tambole mba
Because this is what fueled the dictatorship.
nyine nata nake sembela maralo nyin
The president just says something and it becomes law.
president be kuma fola dala rongo enake luwati
That may be so,
asike no
but the
wanya
fact of the matter is, who am I to challenge?
ndelem jumati kando wala ka kuntu
You are the Minister of Justice. You are the para-patriarch. You are the person all Gambians look to for the application and proper implementation of the law.
itela minister tin wo wato memara luwal din tilingola itela moti me yalan ko gambianol be nyaabe itela nyako no pour luwa be tamandina la nyaamen banko kan
You know the Yaya Jammeh slogan.
alors ya jeme ka kumol min fonu
I may not have gone to study law,
asike comme manta loi kara
but nobody knows the law more than me.
bare moman loi lon katambintati
But it was not only limited to the law.
bara manda hani ka luwa dron na karo
He professed greater knowledge in almost everything else.
wo ku findira dron ka fa e londo soto jele
And the ministers were there to clap for him,
minister katara je ka bulo ko sai
to cheer for him as he makes these outlandish claims.
kay ka bulo ko sai kay tandi ko akumunda nyi men foten ko aya fo kule waranta sabati aya dada kule waranta fo
True or false?
to nya fa fania
I don't want to answer the question because I wouldn't know.
man lef ko nyinin karo jabi de katunto lo nan
Well, when he made his claims about knowing the law better than anybody else, you didn't challenge him, did you?
No, he did not say he knows the law better than anybody else.
ma
He
fo
said,
ko mate loi lon katambi mo beti de
he said nobody knows the law more than him.
ko moman loi lon katambatati
You did not challenge him, did you?
bara mun da kabra yo fode te man kuma lawo kan ka
You all clap.
Mr. Fall,
e bulo ko sai
I don't remember anybody clapping,
Mr. Fall ma kilo mama momo mi alon ko ye blo ko si wodulanto de
but I know for a fact
bara ko tam male ko
that nobody would dare challenge him on that
mota
statement.
hanyila kuntula nyato wo kuma ko online mo
Let me give you another example.
mbatonga misal do dila ba
There was a day he summoned the IGP and his deputies
wati sototo no anane ko min mbatonga misalo dila wati sototo no anane police la kuntonko kuma la na no malonko ni
with the entire cabinet.
ning banko alfa ni bebe mi be do ko la mansa kunda ko
What I personally did not expect
nta fam ko mi alon ko manyi la nun ka be kala
was what happened.
wala na take
He said Fajara used to be the most pleasant residential area.
Ko Fajara le bag dinkrati mi alon ko siyo fon soneata nu wolto bake fon.
Crime free and all whatnot.
Bajala ko fitno mantaraje anun ku jaw barol fanati jeni.
Then Yankuba Sonko was the IGP.
Wato Yankuba Sonko welen police la kuntonkoti.
He told the Secretary General, the then Secretary General,
Konung mimu Secretary General tunu o wato kon.
Njoguba,
Ka fo mi Njoguba
to go and get the list of all the officers from the commissioner all the way down.
Ata ka tol be safe mi alon ko ibadat la commissioner to kata fo duma.
At the Karaba police station.
Mi alon ko wolle be Karaba police station oto.
After getting all that list,
En kabri o tol be safe.
no, upon getting all those names,
Kabri o tol be soto.
Ni o told be soto.
Okay.
Proceed, yes.
That all of them must be fired.
Will be nyanta ke baile.
All of them, from the commissioner down.
Ka dati commissioner to kata fo duma be nyanta ka baile.
I recall that Brian Bai was then the commissioner of police at Karaba police station.
Kilo baka num Biran Bay wala mun num commissioner of police to Kairaba police station.
Nobody questioned it.
Mama hani ka ko nyini kai.
The IGP pleaded.
Police wala kundonko e dani roke.
And all of a sudden he said, AG, what is your opinion?
O kan dorang tariaga ko ita fon AG ita moni la miro la tujinko.
The Minister of Interior was present at the time.
Minister miya ko wala mata banko ko no ko la obe ma be no nje.
And I said, my opinion is,
Nta ko ndala mira lo minti wala nyinti ko.
whatever may have happened,
Wo ku miya ko wala keta.
no matter how negligent they may be,
Sike nya imela do ko tamandi ko nyanta ka tamandi nyami.
I think they should be forgiven.
Amire nyanta ka yam fu male.
And the reason I gave was that
Lunga dalilo min di wo ko la wala nyinti ko.
several of them had been trained.
Mo jamal be economy na ye karandile.
And if they are dismissed,
Na tra ye bay.
to have a replacement for all of them
Ka mo so do mi ala ko wolle be sela wala place hold.
may not be easy.
Wata sone ala no.
And waste of resources may also be involved.
Dum fana sike mbe tinyaro kala de passo fon Kenya tinyaro be so talaji.
Then Mamure Njai, Mr. Mamure Njai, I'm sorry, Honorable Mamure Njai,
For me honorable Mambre Njai
also came in
fona diamuta.
and said that he supports my view.
Ko ndenga min fo ay no kuma ko fasale.
Did he agree in the end?
Nyala ba nyinga nara na sonne ba.
Yes,
Ha
but with a condition.
but I sato le la wo koto de.
Mr. Jobate, at that stage, did you forget your law?
Mr. Jobato o wato lo siyo kono je fo nyina de la luwala la ba men kara.
I don't think so.
Ani mo mira de.
That would have been abuse of authority.
Be kala nyina de me alon
By who?
lan na
By the
tambo
president.
lem sembola. President wala
Ha
ka.
Mr.
Wouldn't it just, we have to call a spade a spade. If we are to build a country that is based on law,
Nin ko nga banko lo
that
de
is
me
based
alon
on
ko.
the rule of law, we
abe
have to
sujuri nin
bring
banko
these things
luwala.
out. I know it was inconvenient. I am not for a moment lost to that fact. But what I'm just trying to do is to bring out the fact that this is what ought to have happened in a country that is based on law.
Yapta ka mem bonde jawla nyino nyina nyanna ka kenu bankuto me alon ko banko nyin ala tamandiri bulo nyin be anyana ka sujini luwala ya marolla.
Do you think it is lawful for the president to just sit there and say fire A, B, C, and D person just like that off the cuff?
For ite ya no ko omu luwa oni luwa tata la president wa si.
Who they are challenging?
Nyaro ka ko mokar ni ba mokar ali bay just o nyamaro.
So that is abuse of authority, isn't it?
Omu lanna tambol December.
That is correct.
ha tonya.
It is unlawful.
Muluan tayaldi.
That is correct.
Tonya.
But the president ought to have been told that his action was not in accordance with law.
But president
I wish you were within his system.
anyana fola ko
As
ala
the
ta
rank
ka
of,
benke o
or
wanta
the
yaldi.
position of a minister.
Ah Mr. Fall mbele fla.
to GRTS Weekday News with me, Khadija Bokum. First, the headlines. A flurry of diplomatic engagements as more ambassadors presents their letters of credence to President Adama Barrow. The Gambia joins the rest of the world to mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance on FGM. Veteran musician, educationist, and journalist Mam Tamsen Jai dies aged 64. In sports, the Gambia Secondary School Sports Association trains teachers in physical education. And in the internationals, avian autopsy reveals flu kills at least 755 pelicans in northern Senegal. These and other stories coming ahead in the news with me, Khadija Bokum. Welcome back. We now begin this bulletin with the presidency as more ambassadors continue to present their letters of credence to President Adama Barrow. The ambassadors designate of Serbia and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan were at the State House for the formal ceremony, which officially marked the beginning of their tenure as diplomats accredited to the Gambia. As we hear in this report by Momodu Jallo, the diplomats pledged to further augment the existing beneficial ties between their respective countries and the Gambia.
His Excellency Jura Likar, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Serbia, was formally welcomed at the State House to present his letters of credence. He is the first accredited ambassador plenipotentiary and extraordinary to the Gambia since the dissolution of the former two countries' relationship. Speaking to reporters after the formal presentation, Ambassador Likar extended warm compliments from Serbian President Alexander Vučić to Barrow.
I'm very happy that I had that honor to present my credentials to the President Barrow, and during our conversation, we focused on the ways of improvement of relations between our countries. There are a lot of possibilities in different areas, but we will focus on developing of economic cooperation between our two countries. Also in the field of education, because the Republic of Serbia offer scholarships for the students from Gambia.
The Serbian ambassador is based in Dakar, also accredited to several other West African countries. Next came the High Commissioner Designate of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, His Excellency Ali Ahmed Arain. He was later ushered in the chambers, where he presented his letters of credence to President Barrow. The Gambia and Pakistan have had excellent bilateral relations, which span decades, and High Commissioner Arain played to consolidate cooperation in the areas of education, security, and the judiciary.
Pakistan has been providing its whatever we can do for Gambia. You know, two of your judges of the Supreme Court were from Pakistan. Right now, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Gambia is from Pakistan. We are also trying to train your officials capacity building, not in the civilian institutions, also in the military institutions. And also we want to improve your infrastructure. What now we have got the company. I just spoke with your president. We can help you in bridging in making the bridges, in making the roads and other infrastructure projects. So hopefully the things will get better.
More ambassadors designated are expected to present letters this week. Momodu Jallo, GRTS News.
The Gambia has joined the rest of the world to mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance on FGM. The commemoration held at the Sir Dawda Conference Center in Bigelow was graced by top government officials and stakeholders. Aminata Isanyang has more in this report.
Usually commemorated every February 6th, the International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM is a day set aside to remember FGM victims and advocate widely against the parties. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare and its partners UNFPA and UNICEF joins the rest of the world to commemorate the day. Graced by the Vice President Dr. Aissatou Touré, as well as religious leaders and women organizations, the space was utilized to share very strong messages against the practice. In her remarks, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Fatou Kinte Sanyang, called on all and sundry to venture in the fight.
Through the work of the joint program and government of the Gambia and the NGOs, over 1,000 communities have made public declarations abandoning the practice. The year 2015 to date witnessed an increase in the number of NGOs, more especially those of young people in the campaign. The use of convinced Islamic religious leaders and scholars added impetus to the campaign. The 2015 legislation against FGM is an indication of government putting into practice the commitment it made by signing and ratifying CEDAW, the Trrc, and other regional protocols to protect the rights, welfare, health, and reproductive health rights of women and girls.
The chairperson of the National Women Council, D. Sawane, said the fight to eradicate FGM requires a collective effort.
Enough talking, start acting to utilize and exercise the law and the policies that have been put in place by the government of the Gambia and its relevant partners for the total eradication of FGM. A silent law is a useless law. For how many years this law says FGM is a crime, and yet still no one, barely no one has been prosecuted. What are we doing?
UNICEF and UNFPA have been playing a significant role in this journey. Both organizations have invested resources against the fight.
The beginning of 2020 has been very challenging, and we know that COVID was a pandemic that affected us on all fronts. But studies have shown that we might have about 2 million additional cases of FGM globally, and it may occur within the next decade. Because schools were shut, parents have girls at home, there's an opportunity for early marriage, there's a chance for that very, very zealous auntie who believes that this practice must continue, even if it's not the mother of the child, to come and get the girl and take her to be caught. This is what we must stop.
As we mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, we celebrate renewed hope and resolve to build on our achievements to end this practice once and for all. Our collective hope lies on the criminalization in 2016 of FGM, a decision that underscores the Gambia's commitment to its obligation under the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, as well as the UN General Assembly resolution for the complete elimination of female genital mutilation and cutting, which the country approved back in 2012.
Being a veteran in the fight against FGM, the Vice President Dr. Aissatou Touré renewed her commitment to the struggle to eradicate FGM, and she as well highlighted the significant role that government is playing.
In the Gambia, a lot has been done to end female genital mutilation and other harmful practices. Years of sustained advocacy by NGOs and CSOs in partnership with government and our development partners has yielded dividends. FGM and other harmful practices are prohibited by law. The government has passed laws and policies that promote and protect the rights of women and children in the Gambia.
There was a highlight of spoken word performance by a young gender advocate.
When I saw on the news a woman who lost her life while giving birth because she was genitally mutilated, that was the end for me because my heart was in pieces.
Stakeholders hope that everyone ventures in the struggle to end the practice. This, they believed, will yield a bigger result. Aminata Isanyang, Grts.
Now, a piece of sad news. Veteran musician, educationist, and journalist by profession, Mamtan Sunjai has died yesterday, Thursday, at age 64. Ominjai takes a look at the illustrious career of a man who many believed lived a worthy life.
It's a somber Wednesday in the Gambia as the public wakes up to the shocking and sudden demise of veteran teacher, singer, and cultural icon Mam Tamsir Njai. Gone for eternity, Mam Tamsir was one of the last remaining figures from a dynamic generation of Gambian artists whose works and legacy continues to shape the country's cultural scene. The musical doyen, who is also a retired professional teacher, began his music career in the early 60s as a young schoolboy in the capital city Banjul. His love for arts and culture quickly took him stardom with a melodious voice that became a defining mark for Gambian music. Promoting Gambian music and culture both at home and abroad, Mam Tamsir Njai successfully released several albums which he used to promote his passion for educational development. Such records like Jangalen underscored the importance of education, especially for the girl child. On the educational front, where he had a career span of close to 3 decades, Mam Tamsir Njai showed what it means to be a real teacher in a field that set him on a powerful course towards development advocacy. His commitment and relentless efforts to impart knowledge have granted solid foundations to scores of young people who now ply their trades in various sectors.
Mam has been a very important personality, who has been working very closely with Grts when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to the revival of arts and culture, and when it comes to the educational programs that he has been handling on behalf of the Ministry of Education. So we've really lost an indefatigable personality who has been very steadfast, very determined, and very patriotic.
He's hardworking and dedicated to whatever he does. Whenever he has a program to record or edit, even if it requires spending the whole day here, he will stay and do his work. I really miss him, and I will miss him forever. He is a real gentleman.
The renowned Gambian artist has also worked at the Ministry of Education as a senior education officer. Those years at the ministry helped to shape a robust educational development focused on a robust nationwide impact. Until his demise, Mam Tamsir Njai hosted the weekly Fisheries and Water Resources show on GRTS, where he invites authorities to engage and educate the masses on fisheries development.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to our weekly Fisheries and Water Resources Forum. I'm your host, Mam Tamsir Njai.
A multi-talented Gambian icon has fallen, but Banjul has also lost a great son who helped to bring the city prominence.
He was a talented artist. He had a very syncopating voice. He understood music. He could read music. He could write music. Also. He was also a proponent of music education, in this country. On several occasions, we've met and discussed his plans to introduce music as a subject of instruction in Gambian schools.
His untimely demise leaves a huge vacuum in many spheres. Always the calm and collected individual was how others described the soft-spoken artist and teacher who died a week before his 64th birthday.
Gambia has lost a great artist, a talented educator, and a strong exponent of Gambian culture and tradition. On behalf of the National Center for Arts and Culture, I want to convey condolences to his family and to his friends and to his colleagues.
May his soul rest in peace. Ominjai, GRTS.
Now, the National Assembly has continued the oversight functions of scrutiny to enhance accountability and transparency in public institutions and agencies. Aissatou Jata Gassama reports the Assembly's Public Enterprise Committee on Tuesday received the 2019 Audited Activity Report and financial statement of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, PURA.
The Public Utility Regulatory Authority returns to the Parliament as promised to deliver its lead activity and financial report before the Public Enterprise Committee. The authority's annual activity report and financial statement for 2019 catalogues the institution's operations, documenting challenges and achievements for the year under review.
PURA also makes it very plain that if action is taken against a service provider, those actions are guided by law. And if the parties are aggrieved, they can still resort to that law to get redress. This has happened in the past with some service providers, and in the end, they chose to negotiate out of court, which PURA also is amenable to.
Deputies had earlier granted the institution more time to submit its spending activity and financial statement for review after PURA's failure to deliver the document on time.
The government regularized the international voice gateway for the telecommunications service provider. This was a condition of the World Bank as part of the $35 million grant to the government of the Gambia in the year 2012. A key component of the liberalization of the international voice gateway was to have a traffic monitoring network in place to ensure and provide revenue assurance for international voice traffic.
As at 31st December 2019, $62,688,045, compared to December 2018, $53,069,616. Other income is $15 million as at December 2019, $50,259,836, compared to December 2018, $8,057,133. Gives a total income of $77,947,881 for December 2019, compared to December 2018, $61,126,749.
The external auditor, however, noted some observations outlining several irregularities in the PURA report.
Honorable Chair, A. Fuel purchases not captured in the logbook defeat the purpose of using the logbook because if purchases are not captured, the records are inadequate for monitoring and control purposes.
Admin assistant responsible for making the entries. However, the coupon counterfoils are always available to confirm receipts and issues of fuel stock. On fuel logbook running balance not captured, the entries on the fuel logbook required one to deduct the total issues against the receipts at any point in time to determine the current balance. The procedure of showing running balances has since been introduced in the year 2020.
The Public Utility Regulatory Authority will return to the Assembly chambers on Thursday for continuation of the National Assembly scrutiny. Aissatou Jata Gassama, GRTS.
And could this be the future for the Gambia in waste management? The Mbolo Foundation and the government has launched a €100,000 3-year sustainable municipal waste management project to tackle the problems of waste management in the metropolis. Majain Barrow was there in the ceremony on Wednesday, and he now reports.
Management is a persistent problem of the metropolitan Gambia, particularly the West Coast region and the Kanifi Municipality Council. Indiscriminate waste dumping and lack of regular waste collection system are blamed for the situation. Several attempts by authorities to challenge the situation for the better yield little results, but Malan Sambo, the chairman of the Mbolo Association, is optimistic that the launch of the €100,000 waste management project will be a difference in containing waste management challenges in the city.
The Gambia can be a model in Africa in terms of waste treatment, not only moving waste from one side to another. Let's try to protect our people walking beside or around the waste. We have to dignify that job. We have to dignify it. How can we do it? People can become environmental agents. Yes, these funds are for that. It's there to prepare the ground.
Officials from the three respective area councils, the Deputy Mayor of Banjul City Council, Deputy Mayor Kanifi Municipal Council, and the Manager of Environmental Health, Brikama Area Council, all emphasized their council's commitment in addressing the issue of waste management and appeal to the online ministries to support the project.
Waste management is a challenge and it's everybody's business. That's why we are very interested to be collaborating with these stakeholders and we want to work together. That's why we are pushing a lot to make this thing a success because our chunk of our monies from the municipalities goes to waste management and still now we don't have any solution on it.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Environment, Alaji Manjang, said the waste bill that his ministry has been working on for many years is about to be enacted and will go a long way in supporting the realization of the objective of the waste management project, adding that Mbolo Association and partners should forward their efforts to other councils.
It has never been in the history of the Gambia, environmental management, and of course, waste, to have a legally binding legislation through which we can be able to act and act in a way that is within the confines of a law.
David Gomez of the Ministry of Lands calls for attitudinal change of the peoples towards waste management, adding that 3 pieces of lands within the councils are identified by his ministries for possibly waste management sites.
Anybody living within the greater Banjul area have had enough of what has happened and what continues to happen in Balkote. And that is why as a sector we are this time very careful to make sure that we do things in the right way, to make sure that what needs to be done is adequately done so that Balkote is not repeated.
With the launch of the 3-year, 100,000 euro waste management project, the Gambia has just had a glimpse of that great future it is working towards in waste management. Majan Barrow for GRTS News.
The Director General of the Gambia Immigration Department, Sidi Trrc, has embarked on a countrywide tour for the second time since his appointment in November. Babukar Kamara reports the monitoring exercise is designed to gather first-hand information on the state of affairs on the immigration facilities and challenges of personnel on posting.
It is the second countrywide tour by the Immigration Director General since his appointment in November 2018. The vision to constantly monitor his personnel has ignited an other journey to a department charged not only to dispense immigration matters, but more so solidify discipline amongst its various ranks, as manifested in this brief parade inspection. The delegation's first visit was at Bara, where the immigration DG was granted with a guard of honor, which will later become a norm in his tour. But behind the spectacle and commitment of his men to deliver on their vision and strategy lies the message.
The purpose of the tour is to visit, immigration formations to know at least firsthand what are the real challenges, more especially in relation to the implementation of our 5-year strategic plan. Last year, based on the COVID restrictions, we were unable to come on a tour. I last came here in 2019. The whole of 2020, we are unable to conduct this tour. So this year, we deem it prudent that we should go and reach out to our colleagues out there. Not only the immigration, we also want to encourage the existing cordial working relationship between the sister services operating at various border of entry points.
The delegation later visited Amdalai, Kerjien, and Nungu Kebe stations with critical interactions on border security, limited mobility, and office space. Later discussions held at the governor's office between Deputy Governor Musa Kante and the delegation focused on the need to provide a one-stop shop for all immigration matters.
Where you have a license, all your immigration documents will be one stop. This is my dream.
The delegation's engagement ended with later visits at Farafenni and Kerayu border post, where the new migration information data analysis system is installed to improve border security. His talk continues. Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
Also touring the country is the National Assembly Select Committee on the Health and Humanitarian Relief. They are visiting disaster hotspots and COVID-19 treatment centers across the country. Fatoumata Cham reports Day 2 of the exercise took the NAMS to the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul.
On Day 2 of the tour by the parliamentarians, the story remains the same. And in the West Coast region, Jambar Sane remains an eyesore and a disaster hotspot in the region, exposing the community to much environmental and health risks. For many people here, though, everything is all too normal. The problem here is, however, a huge one.
Starting from where the flooding starts in Jambar Sane, you will realize that in the entire Birkama, there is no drainage system that is connected to minimize the risk of flooding. So the water that flows from the main crossma over there around Kembuji, that road is slopey. The number of kilometers that was earmarked for this particular drainage was supposed to go up to 2 or 3 kilometers. But because there was a funding gap,
rubbish can be seen indiscriminately dumped in the canals, disrupting the flow of water. Projects supposedly meant to address this problem are apparently not doing enough. Visibly dissatisfied, the National Assembly Select Committee members murmured tough measures to address the vulnerability of these communities and get all the relevant stakeholders to put hands on deck.
I engage in a fact-finding mission. At the end of the exercise, we are going to meet as a committee, prepare a report which will have some recommendations for action, both for NDMA, for other agencies of the state.
As the country battles with a second wave of COVID-19 infections, the committee is visiting treatment and testing centers. At the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, officials say measures and mechanisms have been put in place to adequately manage COVID-19 patients and halt the spread of the virus.
With the upsurge and the second wave, of course, the hospital arrangements as an institution have been sensitized and strengthened, and for the arrangements with infection control, with security and the rest of them. So there is a team that works, and there is a focal person basically in each of the different sections or wings of the hospital.
Acknowledging that the country's main referral hospital has put up a respectable response to the global pandemic, the COVID-19 coordinator at the Banjul Hospital highlighted challenges facing the response process.
Yes, there are challenges. And these challenges is one motivation for the junior staff. I think is very important because these are the ones who are doing a bulk of the job and is very risky. The other challenge is more like just making sure, because we have oxygen. Oxygen has continuously been given. But we just need more of these consumables to be going with it, like face mask and the breathing mask and etc.
As the tour continues in provincial Gambia, the expectation remains that solutions will be devised to address these challenges that continue to pose serious livelihood challenges to the people. For GRTS News, I am Fatoumata Cham.
A move to improve teaching and learning outcomes as well as support healthcare delivery, a charity dubbed United Kiang Association recently donated learning and medical items to Kina Senior Secondary Schools and the village health facility. Alajimbai reports.
United Kiang Association is a charitable organization comprising members who are natives of Kiang districts residing in the Gambia and UK. The gesture benefited Kayaf, Quinella, Nyoro Jataba, Keneba and Karantaba Senior Secondary Schools, as well as health facilities. Speaking at the handing over, the representatives of the association in the Gambia and the diaspora said the association was established to complement government's development efforts in the area.
Citizens should be resourceful. Citizens should be able to help the government in augmenting the efforts. And on our side, it is most necessary, because if you look at Kiang is one of the less developed regions in the whole country.
But there's no government in this world who can do everything for his own people. So with that, we say, let's help our people, come together, help our government and our own people. So that's the main cause of this initiative.
The Regional Education Director for Lower River Region, Momodu G. Jallo, and the Senior Administrative Officer at the Regional Health Directorate, Lamin Sise, both thanked the donors for the gesture, saying the donation will enhance service delivery in schools and health facilities.
Recently, we are trying to move out from just collecting raw data of enrollment, but we want to track every student in our sector. And when I say every student, I'm referring to both conventional and the madrasa. And these computers would help us in a long way of achieving that goal. We definitely value this material.
The facilities that you selected are also very important in healthcare delivery. Because as I mentioned earlier, our biggest challenge in the Ministry of, just like any other institution, is the constraint that we have in service delivery. Some of the items are not enough, especially in regards to bed sheet. So most of the facilities, when you admit patients, when they are going, sometimes they accidentally pack our seats and they go with it.
The principal of Kayaf Upper Basic and Senior Secondary School, Modu Bite, appealed for scholarship packages for young school graduates from Kiang to attend college and university.
Retaining certain teachers is always a problem. We discovered that even some of the Kiankas don't want to come to Kiang. Then there is a need to build up our own human resources. We don't leave it in your hands, but we as custodians of education in this region will also play a role. With time, we will pray and work together, so that if there is a possibility of establishing a scholarship trust fund to award scholarship to our graduates, to the university and to the college, so that we can condition them that upon completion, they will come back and serve in Kiang.
The association also organized an annual cultural day in UK, dubbed Kiang Chosan Day, to enlighten their children in the diaspora about the culture in Kiang and to raise funds for development activities back home. Alajimbai, GRTS News.
We now take a short break and return with sports. Welcome back. More than 60 PE teachers have completed what is called a 3-day intensive training in football and athletics, designed to equip the participants with the required skills and techniques for effective teaching and learning of physical education in schools. The exercise was convened by the Gambia Senior Secondary School Sports Associations and partners. MS Jallo now reports on this.
One after the other, these physical education teachers were certified for successfully completing a 3-day intensive training in physical education. The participants, numbering 65, were drawn from schools across the country and underwent both theoretical and practical sessions to broaden their knowledge techniques in football and athletics, laws of the game, amongst other things. During the closing ceremony, the Secretary General of the Secondary School Sports Association, Lamin Jame, pointed out the need for such trainings.
We are very hopeful that you'll translate this knowledge gain from this training to your athletes back at your various schools, and then we'll be able to see a great impact of that when it comes to in our subsequent competitions.
This is the first time the Gambia Secondary School Sports Association, the body responsible for organizing sport activities among schools, is conducting a training of this magnitude for its members, which is aimed at improving the teaching and learning of physical education in schools.
Go back and replicate what you have learned. Go back and handle your kids in a more professional manner, so that at least whenever we are back into the field for competition, we want to see standard competitions. Not the local one, but a standard competition. We want to see kids running as professionals. We want to see kids playing football like professionals, because they have been handled by professionals who have got the training.
Course instructor Jarvis Turner commended the participants for their commitment and willingness to learn new things during the training.
Building the capacity of teachers, it is very important, and it should not have any limitations. Teachers should have their capacities built up to a PhD level, up to their doctorate level, for the simple reason that they have the first-hand touch or contact with the students from nursery school, primary school, junior secondary school, and senior secondary schools.
The program was held at a time when the Secondary School Sports Association appears to be at odds with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for placing a temporal ban on all sporting activities in schools. And the secondary school sport officials are pleading for a rethink about the decision.
We want to urge the authority to use this platform to urge them to at least lift the ban. Coronavirus, we understand, yes, is in place, but at least let them look at other aspects of it, not only the health aspect of it, but what also the damage is going to cause to the students. It is going to have a very, very negative impact on the performance of the students in the long run. Because if sport activities are being put on hold in schools, then how about PE practicals that is done during WAS examination? How about that? Because that is also sporting activity. It's going to seriously affect it.
These PE teachers will now head back to respective schools equipped with new knowledge and skills which they can apply to prepare the country's future athletes and help contribute meaningfully to grassroots sports development, which is the bedrock for achieving excellence in sports. Mohamed Jallo, GR Sports.
We now take a short break and return with news beyond our borders.
Successfully completing a 3-day intensive physical education.
Welcome back. And now to the internationals. In Senegal, avian autopsy has revealed flu was responsible for the death of at least 750 pelicans in the northern Senegal. Rangers found the pelicans in January 23rd in the Jodi Bird Sanctuary. The sanctuary is a UNESCO World Heritage Site providing refuges for millions of birds around the world. More in this CGTN reports.
Following the deaths of many pelicans, the Senegalese authorities carried out an autopsy.
The laboratory that carried out the study concluded that pelicans died from bird flu. In collaboration with the Ministry of Livestock, the Minister of Agriculture and the Secretary General of the government, we immediately set up a monitoring committee since last Friday. At the moment, agents are in the field to take samples. Precautionary measures have also been taken. The park has been closed to the public. Likewise, all the birds that have died have been destroyed and buried with the support of the Ministry of Health Services.
The death of the long-beaked birds has caused concern among the Senegalese people. But government officials have assured the public that they are taking appropriate measures to prevent the spread of the bird flu.
There is no need to be afraid because in this case there is a regional and sub-regional organization that can help us to deal with the situation. In Senegal, we have One Health, which is housed at the level of the Secretary General of the government and which federates all the services concerned by this type of problem. Since the circumstances of the death of the pelicans have been known, all these entities have been working, and the moment will come when all the information collected will be brought to the attention of the public.
This is the second time that birds have died in similar circumstances in Senegal in the space of a few weeks. 60,000 chicks died following a bird flu outbreak in December 2020. Thuli Shabalala, CGTN.
And that is all for today's bulletin. But before we take a leave of you, a quick recap of our top stories. A flurry of diplomatic engagement as more ambassadors present their letters of credence to President Adama Barrow. The Gambia has joined the rest of the world to mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance on FGM. And veteran musician, educationist, and journalist Mam Tamsin Jai has died aged 64. In sports, the Gambia Secondary School Sports Association has trained teachers in physical education. And in the internationals, avian autopsy reveals flu kills at least 750 pelicans in the northern Senegal. And this was all for the news, but do enjoy the rest of our programs. Till then, have a nice day.
The Minister of Agriculture.
At the level of the Attorney General's chambers.
Attorney General chambers by Nyami.
Files coming in and out will be signed as having been received.
File beduna befintila.
There is no such document of any of these reports or observations of any judge sent to me.
Mahani kaiti kilin kinya nan kaita di jojo kititela nye kul janu Nyami wo report o ka kinya ni.
You would agree that on that basis the executions were unlawful.
Rebe son namala ko wo dalilu kango to faro nyi menketa nyi molla luanta ya faro la kedela.
That is correct.
Tonya.
Secondly,
kufulanja
is you ought to have sent written recommendations to the president and advise him what to do.
Itanyana sute ila sutero yemenje ko nyi ko nyala safaro kela ko president yaki president ya marje ku ita anyana kamenke.
The report, the warrant said you did so.
Waranto yementani nyanko ite yo kele.
You said the information here is false.
Barito ku kibaro membe nyi waranto nyi ko no amansoro.
That is correct.
On that basis also,
dalilo kan hanin kabi.
If your position is accepted, it means this is a second ground to say that the executions were unlawful. You agree?
Look, Mr. Fall.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Fall.
Whatever way you take it, whatever questions you ask, whatever you reason it to be, as far as I am concerned, these executions were totally and completely unlawful.
What I am doing,
secondly,
what I am doing is to list the elements that would show that they were unlawful. You understand? Yes. So we have seen two elements. Okay. The third element is the manner of execution.
See, up to date, except for the testimonies the explanations they made before this commission, I do not know how, when, where they were executed. Besides, This warrant, you can see, is addressed to the sheriff.
At the
time, it was Mr. the late Buba Jao. I was never a sheriff at the High Court.
The law, indeed.
So the individual that said it, he held my hand. Show me the dead bodies.
I'm more freely attending.
Unfortunately, but he's the biggest liar I've ever seen in my life. This was why, when somebody else was asked,
Mr. Jobate, where were you on this date?
On the day of execution?
Yes, 24th August 2012.
I don't remember where I was, but certainly not at the place of execution.
How could you? This was an important event which immediately, soon afterwards, it was announced. And there was a whole hullabaloo about this execution. You would remember where you are.
If I had known the time of execution, I would be able to juggle my mind.
It was at night.
Understood.
On the 12th of August.
What time of the night?
On the 24th of August 2012.
What time of the night?
It was late at night.
Are you sure about that?
That is what the testimony said.
I don't know where it was done. How it was done by whom.
Let us try to establish where you were on that date.
Yes.
Tell us where you are.
I cannot tell you where I was because I don't take note or remember every minute of my life. You
agree with me that this was a seminal event? It was a very important event in Gambian history. Never before in our country has this happened.
Was similarly executed.
That was one person.
Indeed.
This is 9 people, including a woman. 2 foreign nationals. All in one day. It has never happened in Gambian history. So this was an event that as Minister of Justice you ought not, could not, should not have forgotten.
I did
not say I forgot. You asked where I was at the time. I told you I don't remember at the time where I was.
Are you avoiding telling us where you are? It's an honest question.
Why would I do so?
Because that would box you into a situation.
If I could recall where I was at the time, I would say.
Do you normally? Yes, finish.
Even if I were to tell you, I am at Gibraltar, how would you know? That I'm not saying the truth.
Don't test me, Mr. Jobate.
Well, you tell me where I was.
No, you try it by giving me. Tell me where you are. It's blatantly not truthful, and I would be able to prove
I maintain my same position where I was at the time.
So you would not take up the challenge?
Why would I refuse to take a challenge?
Well, take it. Try. Tell me this is the location you are.
One place I can presume to have been. I did not say it like that.
Can you repeat it
in your own words?
Just blame Mira no Kafko. I know to 8 o'clock. Wolong Sutro was at my house.
What I can presume where I was on that particular day, around 8 o'clock, was at my house.
Which was where?
I have 2 houses. I don't remember. I wouldn't know which one or two.
fula bembul. So talon na juma.
Where are they located?
Wolbe muntole wo korai.
One is at Bakote.
Dobe Bakote.
The other one was at Old Yundo.
Dobe Old Yundo.
Where in Old Yundo?
Munto Old Yundo.
The street directly opposite the speed petrol station.
Yajembedo mi alonko wole nyabe trending essential yoni.
Coming from the airport junction.
Bona airport junction auto.
Going towards the Old Yundum police station.
Ataya telling Old Yundum police station.
What was your mobile phone number?
Wala munela mobile phone number ti watu.
9970996.
9970996.
Was this the only number you had?
797.
797.
0099.
0099. Ofanamuna number.
Mr. Chair, I ask that you order that we get the call records for these mobile phones.
Mr. Chair, mba fole ko priya ya marodi isaje ni mobile number mi yana ko ngole titen asa itandiro ka ala tariko la ni mol mi yana ko ani wole ka nyoma no wo wato ko
for 24th and 25th
ata tilimwani nani kata tilimwani
of
August karo ko
2012
2012
Actually, you may proceed them to get the records from Camtel, I believe.
Camtel and Africa.
Council is a continent.
Let's proceed.
Yeah, Waltano, Camtel,
thank you very much,
Baraka,
Mr. Chair. Mr. Witness, the other issue is that you as Attorney General had a responsibility to ensure that there is solemnity in the execution of death sentences.
Minister member luan din tilingolai ani muy kan dum kunto dunno de kaje ko faro nyingi nabe kala ay kay tan sila me alan ko atata ni luan e tilingol silol
solemnity there has to be how would I describe it? It has to be respectful, it has to be dignified, it has to have respect and dignity. You had that responsibility. Under the law. Did you discharge that responsibility?
I cannot discharge a responsibility that I do not know of. How, where,
malong, muntole, yake muntole, animili yake.
In as much as you know there was a conviction.
Katugo yalong ko nyamin ko coming dual be ablola mo.
And a sentence.
Anu fara nyante ke mari bute yarola.
I have never ever written and submitted any report to the president.
Nana mang report safe kas ki president official.
That would we would find the evidence.
Be my guest. Yeah. Finding the evidence.
Yes. But for you also, it would be helpful to you if you can bring evidence suggesting that you did not do any of the things stated in the warrant.
I think it would be more helpful for you to bring me or bring to this commission the report I have written on this matter.
I have told you that a lot of these reports are missing. What we can go with is what is contained in the warrant. And on this particular occasion, the presumption of regularity is something that has to be borne in mind. But let's deal with other issues, surrounding this execution, and the commission will have all the material to be able to make its findings. So this responsibility to ensure solemnity, to guard against abuse, was also not discharged.
Look, Mr.
Fall.
Yeah, Mr. Fall.
Or if you like, I will call you by lead counsel.
No, call me Esa.
No, I wouldn't do that.
But I am your junior in the bar, well, so I can accept that.
It doesn't matter. I shouldn't be calling you by those kind of names. One thing I want to make clear is that I can only take responsibility for what I am aware of.
No, I disagree, Mr. Jobate. You take responsibility. Let me put my question.
No, let me finish first.
I will defer to you as my learned senior.
We have been going on very nicely, and
I will defer to you as my learned senior. Proceed, please.
You see, I have earlier indicated the kind of character Yaya Jammeh is. Yaya Jammeh will say things today. The next minute he will change. And deny ever saying so. I remember, if I may give you another example.
I hope we wouldn't be taken too far away from the issue.
No.
But proceed.
Just to show you that Yaya Jammeh will always do whatever he likes. And he will turn around and say he never said so.
You are saying he's a liar. Well, you've said it before. Well, congenital and pathological.
Yes.
Those were your words.
Exactly. And I still maintain them. Now, I recall it was myself and Pahari Jammeh, my then Solicitor General. We were in Yaya Jammeh's office. And he raised the issue of Justice Wowo. And he said he must be arrested, fired, and detained.
Why?
Well, he has his own reasons. I don't remember what those reasons were, to be honest.
And that too was unlawful?
Yes, indeed.
You see?
So I told him that would be too extreme.
You didn't tell him that would be unlawful?
Mr. Fall.
Mr. Jobate?
I need to know my choice of words when I'm talking to this man, knowing his character.
Well,
you and all lawyers should have stopped working for him, knowing fully well that all he did was abuse the law.
Teni do nyo kote ngol be mi ko lawyer de mol al bi nyana kala molder mi alan ko al nyana bulala pour al nay do ko ka to am molder mi alan ko akal wanya kana akal na tambile.
That is your opinion, but how many people thought that way?
Well, because you people did not think that way, we had a dictatorship.
I personally differ from what you are saying. But in any event, let me finish. I gave him two very important reasons. This man has been a judge for a while. And number two, considering our relations with Nigeria, who has always given technical assistance to various ministries and departments of the country. They may not be happy with the action that you want us to do. And he disagreed with me. And ordered the police not to arrest.
And you discharge your responsibility.
Yes.
Nothing happened to you.
Well, if you say nothing happened to me, I will disagree with that also.
What happened?
You should hear the kind of remarks and insults he made.
Mr. Jobate, you don't like the insults, you're being disrespected. You don't like it that your advice is not being taken, you are being cast aside. Resign.
Mr. Jobate, ikata mori me alon ko ni ya mara bukata abakuma nuri ngol fole. E bari nyan to so rali si do ko ni sa resign no le yabula.
It's not as easy as you are putting it.
Let's take the easy one then and go on lunch break.
Yes, maybe we should do that. get some sustenance, we will resume our proceedings this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Meeting is adjourned.
5